Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Nerds and a Podcast. Today, we're talking about the big, beautiful, very busy weekend that was Anime Expo.
Woo, 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 woo!
I got to go. This is my second Anime Expo. I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99.9% sure we did a podcast about it last year, so you can go find that. But this year, like last year, it was on the 4th of July weekend. I don't know why they picked that weekend. And next year is going to be on 4th of July weekend as well. I'm not sure why they picked that
Yeah.
weekend for everybody and their grandma to be in LA, but it is what it is. So this year I actually got to go. I can't talk. I don't know what day it is. But I got to go all 4 days this year for Anime Expo. And the last time I did a 4-day convention weekend was in 2019 for San Diego Comic Con. And I am
Oh
here
my
to
gosh.
say, yeah, I'm here to. Usually I do, sometimes I'll do three. Most of the time I've been doing two. Um, but I am in fact old. Like a 4-day convention weekend proves that rather quickly.
Yeah.
And the thing is usually like I'm okay for 4 days, but we were really this year the convention was sold out of all tickets for all 4 days.
That's
Which is
insane.
I don't think the only other thing I've ever been to that's been sold out was literally the Battleman's concert this past March. Otherwise, I don't think I've ever been to anything that's sold out, which is quite crazy. And we were truly sardined in there. It was shoulder to shoulder, constant people moving. We were constantly getting yelled at because you can't sit anywhere in any of the exhibition halls. In Artist Alley, you cannot sit, which I think is crazy
Yeah.
because where can you can't have like 10,000 people at a convention and not have them sit somewhere.
Yeah, all
But
day? Yeah.
all day. And like it's a lot of walking. Like the convention center, if you look at it on Google, is quite large, and then they took up even more space this year than last year, I believe, because they've, as far as I know, they have added the crypto arena this year. I don't think the crypto arena was part of it last year, but it could have been. But so we're literally that entire like 3-4 blocks of convention center. Um and again, shoulder to shoulder all week. Also there's like escalators like to get up to various floors because the convention center is 3 floors, and at least like twice a day one of the escalators was broken, so we had to use them like regular stairs,
Ugh.
which is terrible, especially when you're in costume and you have to hold all your stuff up like a dress so that you don't trip and die. But all 4 days, I went in cosplay. I would say 3 out of the 4 days. The fourth day was a very lazy version. But first day, we went on Thursday. It is what I have titled the day of wrong directions. The first day of a convention for me is usually not a good one as far as like getting anywhere and knowing where anything is. I went with Brooke and my friend Brandon this year, and Brooke and I dilly dallied a little too much with our makeup in the morning, and we left a little bit late. But I was like, that's fine. There's nothing at 9 a.m. that I want to see. It's fine. We'll be okay. And we were. The one thing nice about it being 4th of July weekend is there's nobody on the freeway. Everybody is out
Yeah.
of town and waiting
At the
for
beach.
fireworks somewhere at the beach, at a campground of some kind. As they are at a lake elsewhere. They are not in LA. And even with the fact that the World Cup was happening same weekend, not a soul. It was actually great. Driving on the freeway to this convention, wonderful. The thing is the entire back half of the convention center plaza is under construction because they're trying to fix it before the Olympics in 2 years, I think. And so they have a lot of streets blocked off, which is super fun. And I was like, we'll park at the convention. We've left early enough because I left the same time we did last year. We'll get into the convention parking lot. It'll be fine. We waited. We inched along the streets for an hour and like 45 minutes, and we finally got to like the to turn to make a right into the little side street to make a right into the parking garage. And they had like a crossing guard, which is great because the people don't know how to drive. And then the crossing guard was like, no, you can't come in, keep going, keep driving. Yeah, they were letting people in that were coming from the opposite direction, and I was ready to just drive off a cliff because I was like, there's no way we just inched for an hour and 45 to be told that we can't park here. That's
That's
crazy.
terrible.
And so we inched our way, we drove past and then tried to loop back around and inched our way around the convention center because construction. So everybody and their grandma is in the traffic, and we kept like looking, and everything that was like sharing some side of the convention center, the hotels wanted $100 for parking plus
Oh
tax,
my
which
god.
is insane. And then everything like the little like really sketchy looking parking spots, anywhere from 30 to $60 for 1 day parking.
Yuck.
Yeah, open parking gate just like at no. And so we're driving and I'm like, keep your eyes peeled for parking. And I happened to glance to my we were on Washington and we made a right, and I happened to see this man holding a $12 parking sign. And I don't think I have ever turned so fast down an alleyway in my life. And so we pulled up, I pulled into the alleyway where he was at, and I was like, it's an alleyway. It's not looking too good. And there's like a line of cars, and I'm like, is that where he wants us to park, like literally in the alley? But no, no, it was actually, there was like a back entrance to a parking garage. And I was like, I mean, his sign said $12, and so I pull up, and it was indeed $12. For LA parking, I'm taking it. And I'm pretty sure it was Brandon was like, "Do you think we'll be okay in this parking lot?" And I'm like, "We'll find out if I come back to a smashed window or not."
We'll find out if it was worth $12.
Yeah, we'll see what that $12 gets us. But what I really did like about this parking garage, it's off Flower Street. If anybody needs to know where it is. But it's open 24 hours. It was well lit. It was actually also partly parking, I think, for a hotel or like a business building that was next to it. Security guard 24 hours. And we parked, I think the first day we parked on the third floor. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna chance it. We might as well. And we parked there the rest of the convention weekend because I, in fact, did not end up with broken windows or flat tires or anything else like that. There was never anybody creepy in there, which was great. The only thing is the stairs to get to the floor. The elevators were broken, so no elevator for us. So we had to take the stairs or just twirl our way down the ramp, which I did every other day but the first one because my knees were killing me. But woo, man, stairs were kind of steep, so like the thighs were working overtime. And the stairwell smelled like pee.
Yuck.
Yeah, but that's kind of typical for LA. Like everything
Yeah.
kind of lightly smells like pee. But there was never anybody creepy in the garage, around the garage. There was no homeless encampments or anything like that. It was two streets over from the convention, so we were pretty close. We were close enough for me that I wasn't ready to just like die on my way back. So that was great. And then we got into the convention. Well, they blocked off 2 blocks worth of Figueroa Street, which is kind of crazy. So we get there and there's a huge line out in the front. So we just we find the end of it and get to the end of it. And then Like after like 20 minutes, somebody from a different line goes, "You're not in an actual line. That's just people standing there." And then somebody in our line was like, "How do you know it's not an actual line?" And then there was not a single convention worker in sight. So we had no idea. So we disbanded our line, and then we found out it was registration. But like the good weebs we are, we ordered our passes well enough in advance that they came in the mail. So we didn't need to go through registration. Rock out Scarlet in the background there. But we eventually found the line that just went straight inside and then got inside. And I was like, wow, that was easy. Where was somebody to tell us that this was the line? Nowhere is where. But yeah, so we did our first day, we did Artist Alley as a whole, which, if you've ever been to an Artist Alley in the LA Convention Center, is huge.
Mhm.
I love you too, Scarlett. But it is a parking garage most of the time, except during a convention where it's Artist Alley. And that's all fine and dandy, except there's not a lot of airflow in there. And we're shoulder to shoulder and hot and sweaty already because it's already like 80 degrees outside. I
Mhm.
took a small fan with me this year, which honestly, game changer. Thank you to that one person on Instagram that said, take a fan. I did. It was the best thing ever. Brooke actually ended up commandeering it the first day because she was dying. She was in a more polyester costume than I was. First day, I didn't even say it. First day, we went as Yuji and Choso. And Choso's cosplay was supposed to be the easiest cosplay that I made for this weekend, and it was, in fact, the hardest one. Because I don't know if anybody's ever sewn a pair of shorts and try to like alter the pattern a little bit, but the second you try to do that, they become impossible. And I don't understand the physics of shorts, but I figured it out. So it was okay. And we looked fabulous. But we did the whole of Artist Alley because, like the good Gooner girl that I am, there is an artist who is called Prawn M33. And whatever their pronouns are, does amazing artwork of the Love and Deep Space Boys and also just the rest of my favorite anime men. Um, I'm pretty sure the Gojo I got you last year, the print, I'm pretty sure was from her. She has one of my favorite Silas pictures, one of my favorite Astarion pictures, but she was doing pre-orders. She was like, hey, you could pre-order through my website and then just pick it up at Anime
Oh,
Expo.
that's
And I
nice.
was like, hell yeah, sister. I have never clicked yes to something so fast. Also, I forgot to follow her on Instagram last year, and I was devastated because I was like, "Oh no, I don't remember who this art." I'm sure it probably says on the back of her art. I just forgot about it. But she came across. Thank God for Instagram and my algorithm being so stereotypical because she came across my Instagram and I hit pre-order on a bunch of stuff. And if you spent $50, which is not hard, you got a free lads paper bag, which I saw everybody had them last year, and I was like, where do I get that? I need that. But last year at her booth, we could not get close enough until like Sunday because there were so many
Dang.
people
That's
constantly in front
crazy.
of her booth. And then, of course, by then she had ran out of bags, but I still got some good stuff. But so we went crawling through Artist Alley because Brandon, he usually goes with our other friend Logan, and Logan does not like people and does not want to swim through Artist Alley, which is fair. It's a valid opinion. But when I had asked Brandon, I was like, "What do you want to do this convention?" And he was like, "Artist Alley," and I was like, "Oh, you are speaking my
Yay!
language." Speaking my, I will shop until I drop, and even when I drop, I'm still gonna shop. I got you, my guy. And so there was just too many people, honestly, and there's no flow. Like my favorite meme that makes me laugh but also want to cry if I think about it too hard is the ones that are like people at conventions be walking like, and it's like people just like dead stop in front of
Mhm.
you, or dead stop, 180 and then run into you. And it's hilarious, but it's so true. It's terrible. And so we actually started because the booth that I pre ordered from was all the way in the back, of course. And also, one of my other favorite artists was also all the way in the back, which is the Gojo keychain I got you last year. That was from her.
Oh.
She was literally like in the corner. And so I was like, we'll just start from here and snake our way forward instead of everybody and their grandma who's starting from the front snaking their way
Mhm.
backwards. And so that's what we did. And with the back half, we were pretty good. There wasn't too many people. It was fine. And then there's like a big break because it's a quote unquote fire safety lane or something. I don't know, but they let us sit on the sides the first day we were in there, and then every other day they were yelling at us that we couldn't sit, we could only stand, and I'm not sure why that made a difference. So, and then we had a good sit, and then we continued on to the front half. The front half was literally like we just felt like a herd of cattle. We were just like slowly shuffle, 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 stop for like 3 minutes, and then shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And now when I do Artist Alley, I have a process. I stay to the right. So I will see the booths on the right, and then I'll flip a U turn and go back down the same aisle on the right hand side so that I get to see every single booth, because that's what I am there to do. Is I go to conventions to shop. Panels
Mhm.
are a bonus. I literally go to shop and see all the cool, pretty things. But so we did that the first day, and then we actually got to meet Adam McArthur, who is the English voice actor for Yuji Itadori and JJK. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, and it's funny because Joe has actually met Adam a couple of times, and he when we talk about conventions, he is in Florida, and we have very different experiences because I always every convention I've gone to, you have to enter kind of like a lottery system to meet people. You don't just like
Mhm.
walk up to the booth. The first time I ever did that was LA Comic Con last year, but I, of course, wanted to see the most popular man there, Neil Newbon. And so I waited all day in that line. But that was already a story on the podcast. You can also listen to that somewhere. Um, but I was like, yeah, no, you can't just walk up to people. But actually, you can. Adam, of course, had the biggest line out of everybody that was there on Friday, but he was only there Friday. But we got to meet him, which was great. He's a little ball of sunshine. I follow him on Instagram, and he's just so cute and he's so sweet. And of course he loved our costumes. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do JJK that day, because I was like, I know we're gonna meet Adam today. We didn't get to chit chat as long as I wanted to, but that is a-okay. But yeah, so first day was really great. We saw a lot of things, and we were done by like 6, and then we went home, and it was wonderful. And then next day is when we did all the like exhibition hall, I believe is what they call it, and it's kind of where like the bigger names are, so like Crunchyroll and Hulu and Toho Animation and all of those things. And so we went through all those booths. Hulu was giving out poster tubes this year with posters inside, which was pretty cool. um Toho, of course, had the cutest freebie. They gave you like a tiny, the Trader Joe's totes that are really viral right now.
Mhm.
So it's like
I
that
love those
style, but
ones.
it's yeah, but it's like super mini. So it's only like 5 inches wide and 3 inches tall. It's super tiny. But inside is a reusable bag. And they were like a little blind box situation. So they had 4 designs, I think. Four, three. They had Freeman, Apothecary Diaries, JJK. I feel like there was something else. I got Free Ren, which is very exciting. That was the one I wanted. And then both Brandon and Brooke got Apothecary Diaries, which were also very cool. Let's see what else happened day 2. I'm trying to think. Oh, it's very exciting. So Crunchyroll, their booth is always huge, But I do like because they have usually they're celebrating whatever shows they have coming up, and they have like little interactive areas, which we didn't go through because there was too many people to stand in line, stand in line
Ugh,
for any of that.
people.
Um,
Yuck.
yeah, yeah, but they had, which I took a ton of pictures of. They have like the one thing I love about Crunchyroll is the sides of their booth is always decorated in some fashion or another. So they had I watched an anime which just premiered this year called Witch Hat Atelier, and so they had a big witch hat atelier like little booth thing that the interaction part was you could create your own spells, which is adorable. But they had of course all the beautiful artwork on the side, so I took a bunch of pictures of that. And then the exciting thing about like getting further and further into anime is I start recognizing more stuff.
Hmm.
And so Joe and I are watching through an anime called Mushuko Tensei, and the I believe season 3 he said comes out I think in August. And so they had like a bunch of little like cardboard cutout thingies celebrating I think it's the 5th anniversary and season 3, and we were walking past it and I was like, whoa, wait, I know what that is, back up. So back up and take a picture. um but yeah, so it was cool like recognizing more stuff because as I obviously learn and talk to more and more people about anime. um but yeah, and then Crunchyroll of course gives out their iconic convention backpack, reusable backpack kind of thing. We missed
Hmm.
it the first 2 days, but we got them on Saturday.
Oh,
um
good, good.
Yes, I have, in true Jamie fashion, have asked too much of my Crunchyroll bag, and I have ripped the zipper out of it. So it's
No.
okay. It's just sewn in there, so I'll just sew it back, and it'll be
Well, you
fine.
can do that. That's the thing. You are crafty
Yes.
enough to be able to just fix things.
Exactly. They just I think what happened is they made the stitch too big. And so like the second you put anything kind of sort of heavy in there, it just like rips out the stitching. But it's fine. I'll fix it. Also, too, Joe was like, "Hey, there's potentially he watches or he plays a series of games called Persona." And so it's
Hmm.
the 30th anniversary for Persona. And he was like, they're supposed to have a booth. And I was like, okay, okay. And I've been watching him play through, I think it's the fourth one. And so on day one, we had passed by, and I was like, wait. I think that's the Persona booth. Wait. And so we had to back up a little bit, and it was. So I sent him pictures, and I was like, if you want anything, and of course, the sweatshirt he wanted was sold out in the size he wanted. And I was like, okay, I'll check back tomorrow and we'll see. I did end up finding it for him and I bought it for him. And I was like, okay,
Yay.
you owe me $80 now because it
Oh my
does
god, that's
matter.
expensive sweater.
Yeah, but it's actually kind of nice because he was like, well, one, they're sold out online, and I was like, ah, okay, so that's why you wanted me to look for it. But also, two, he doesn't have to pay shipping because I'm gonna be shipping myself out there in September when we go to Orlando, and so I was glad I could find that for him. I'm trying to think what else happened that day. I think that was it for day one. It was very eventful. It was really fun. Day two, which probably one of my favorite days because Brooke and I did Luffy and Zoro cosplays for FanFest. And so we were just like, we'll wear that again for Anime Expo. And I will say, I do enjoy my Zoro cosplay because one, it's a jacket and a tank top. So if I'm hot, jacket comes off. If I'm cold, jacket comes back on. And so perfect for like 85-degree weather in LA. We When we first got there, there was a guy dressed as Garp, which is Luffy's grandpa, and he had seen Brooke from afar, and then he was like, get over here, let's take a picture. So we had a lot of people want to take pictures with us as Luffy and Zoro, which was a lot of fun. We also saw a little kid. He must have been like 7, dressed as Luffy as we were walking
Aw.
in. Yeah, and I asked his dad, I was like, hey, can we get a picture with little Luffy? And he was like, absolutely. And the kid was super cute. He did his little like Luffy pose and everything, which was great. Um, and let's see, what else? We went through another exhibition hall and they had a really cool, I don't know why, but Dandadan did a collab with F1 racing. I'm
Mhm.
not sure why, but they had a really cool like race car. I could care less about the race car. They had a lot of they had a really big turbo granny just like in the middle of this exhibition hall, which I love. She's the lucky cat for anybody who doesn't watch Don Don Don. And then of course we went back through Hulu and Crunchyroll to get our free stuff. And then let's see, what panel did we have that day? We did a couple of panels that day. We were in the Peacock Theater, I believe, for 3 panels. The first one was like the Crunchyroll, like up and coming, basically a series of trailers. So it seems like they have a lot of really cool stuff out. I can't remember any of it right now, but definitely check out Crunchyroll because it seems like they have a lot of cool stuff coming out, which is exciting. But we were in there so early because they had a Witch Hat Atelier panel that had the Japanese voice actor for Coco and Keyfree. Yeah, Coco and Keyfree. Keyfree is the one that looks like Gojo.
Mm.
And then Coco is the little green haired girl. And that panel was amazing. And I almost cried. Witch Hat Atelier is like one of my favorite shows in existence. And it's only got 1 season. And I need to know what happens now because it left on such a cliffhanger. And Brandon was like, that's how they get you to read the manga. And I was like,
Yeah.
I gonna have to. Like I told Joe that and he's like, yeah, yeah, we can't leave it like that. I'm like, I know. But I think that's the closest I've ever come to crying in an anime panel. It was so magical to see that show in particular on such a big screen. It's like an IMAX sized screen in
Mhm.
there, and we were like the 5th row back, so we were like real close. But that was amazing. And then the panel right after that was the Demon Slayer panel, which was amazing. They were talking about the movie is releasing on Crunchyroll. This sounds like an ad. It's not, but Crunchyroll, feel free to sponsor.
But it could
Um,
be.
yeah, Crunchyroll, this is your opportunity. But the movie is coming to Crunchyroll at the end of July, which is very exciting because now I can actually rewatch it. And so they were talking about that, and the next, I can't remember. I think they're doing a show. Is what's next. Um, but my favorite part was that the Japanese voice actor for Giyuu was on the panel. And it seems like Anime Expo's new thing is like having the voice actors do a live voiceover of certain
Mhm.
scenes. And so I got to hear Giyu's voice live and in person, and I have never wanted to cry so bad.
Mhm.
Giyu's my favorite, just in case anybody doesn't know that. Um, but they did the scene from the movie where Giyuu is like, listen, he's talking to Akaza and he's like, my back hurts. You need to die. Let's go. So you get all the internal monologue and all of that. And it was absolutely amazing. But also, if I was a voice actor and somebody was like, hey, you're going to do this in front of a giant crowd, I would have been like, absolutely not. Do
Yeah.
not make me do that. Because they do all of like the little like the breathing and the grunting and that because they're like mid battle and I'm just like wow, this is crazy. It was
Yeah.
also amazing to see. Also, I Japanese voice actors, the men, they're just so cute.
Yeah.
They're just like
They are.
I just want to squeeze them, and I love them. Um, and then the Japanese voice actor for oh my gosh, Shinobu and Tanjiro, I think, were there too. So we got to see all of them perform live and in color, which was amazing. Also, like a couple of like random thing. I think it was the like pre-show thingy. Alex Lee, who is a American voice actor, um, he was there. He was there a lot. He was like, they were like, you know what, Alex, you're gonna work this convention, and he was like, all right, bet. So he was there. We got to see him a couple of times, but it was just like the Peacock Theater is such a good place for panels like that because it's just so magical and I love it. But yeah, and then so that was day 2. Day 3, Christine joined us. And it was my debut for my Fern cosplay, which I am extremely proud of. And I love telling people that it is made out of bed sheets and a t-shirt. And
Which is crazy.
yeah, and it was actually one of the easiest ones to make, which is insane. I also made my staff out of a PVC pipe, foam clay, EVA foam, and some paint. And it was terrible to carry a staff around all day. I kept whacking Brooke with it at one point, but it was fine because she whacked me with her axe a couple of times, so we really evened each other out. But we got Christine to dress up as Free Ren, and then Brooke was dressed as Stark, so we were the new trilogy of people. And we had a lot of people ask for pictures, which was great. It's always so fun when people are like, "Can I get a picture of you or with you?" And we're like, "Absolutely. Please boost my ego as much as you want." But yeah, and then so that day we got to meet, and oh my gosh, I can never remember her name. Hold on, must look up. Anne Yatko. She's the English voice actor for Nobara in JJK. Um, so we got to meet her, which her line was also long, but hers seemed to go a bit faster than Adam's, which is great. But we got to meet her. She's super nice. I also love too that a lot of the English voice actors are just big old weebs. Like they're also like enjoyers of anime and stuff like that. Whereas I feel like a lot of actors, like regular actors, can sometimes be really snobby and be like, "Oh no, I don't watch that," or "No, I've never seen anything else. I just picked this movie for the money or whatever." But they're all a bunch of weebs, and so when we got to the front, Anna was like, "Fern, Stark, get up here!" And she was super sweet and super nice. And she's so little. She's probably a little bit shorter than I am, which I think is hilarious. Um, but she was super nice, and we had a great time meeting her. Let's see. What did we do that day? I don't remember. We did a lot of like we basically backpedaled because it was Christine's first day, so we kind of sort of went through Artist Alley, and then Brooke and I went over and met Anne, and then we hopped back into the exhibition hall and did that. And then we went to a panel that Brandon wanted to go to that I, being a very terrible friend, do not remember what I know it was for a game, but I do not remember what the game is called. It's like G20 or I don't know. It's something or other. But we had to stand in line outside for that panel, and man, was it hot. It was
Yuck.
so hot.
Yeah.
And I kept like we stood outside in line a couple of times throughout the convention, and I think the one thing that Anime Expo, which I feel like is such an easy fix, they need to do, put fans everywhere. Like
Yeah.
we'd be like under a tent, which is great because we're in the shade, but like they would have like 6 lights in the tent, and I'm like, okay, replace 3 of those lights with fans just to circulate the air, and we'll be golden. And Brandon was like, or maybe some misters, and I was like, misters would work. Something they need to take like a note from like theme park lines and move accordingly. Um, but yeah, so we got to see that, and then we tried to go see. They had a free run panel, which was the only panel I wanted to see for the day. We got in line like an hour before the panel, and so they like it was in the Marriott Hotel, which it should have been in a bigger room. First of all, it should have been in the Peacock Theater or even the Crypto Arena. But so we had to go through security, and then they were like, if you're here for the panel, you're going to stand over in this blocked off area. So I was like, oh, okay. But every other line we've had to stand in, they yell at us, if you are not standing on a piece of tape, you are not in line. This time they were just like, just get in. Just get into this corral. And I'm like, okay, that's a bit weird, but sure. So we stand there for like an hour, and then they start like letting us go inside. And I was like, okay, sweet. So we have a chance of getting in. And then as we're, because it's on the second floor of the hotel, as we are literally stepping onto the escalator, there's a man yelling that the panel is capped at capacity and nobody currently going up the escalator is going to get into the panel. It is full. As we're
Dang.
already on the escalator. I'm already on the escalator. Why aren't we in there? And so get up the escalator. And then I'm like, great. So how did, and they had the escalator down, blocked off. So I'm like, okay, well, how do we get down? Like, how do we get out of the second floor? We had to walk across the hotel to go down a different pair of escalators. And I was like, why? Why are we doing this? So we had to go down and around. And I was just like, I'm ready to go home if you guys are ready to go home. Because it was already past 6 o'clock at that point. So everything else was closed. And so we were all like, yeah, we'll call it a day. So we were kind of peeved. We didn't get into the panel, but sometimes it do be that way, which is unfortunate. But it was nice because we ended up going to, Brandon showed us this ramen place in Santa Clarita that has a bunch of, I guess they're posters, but it's all one piece. So like the entire wall of this restaurant is just one piece. And the dude was really chill. I need to look up what the restaurant is called because I don't actually remember. I just remember that it is by the Tilly's in Santa Clarita. But I don't think they've been there for very long. But the guy was really cool and it was really delicious. Although I love me some ramen.
Yes, ramen is delicious.
It's called Masa Ramen, and it is in Santa Clarita, California. It is really good. The I don't know if he was just the chef or if he was the owner or what, but the gentleman was very nice, and I always feel really bad because we went in like 40 minutes before they were getting ready to close, and I'm just like, oh God, please don't hate me. We're just really hungry. And like, it was like, because Brooke pointed out, he was like hovering. There was another like couple in there, and he was like kind of hovering around them and like picking their dishes up as soon as they were done. Um, and then because Brooke and I were kind of sort of still in cosplay, I had peeled like my wig off and taken my coat off, and I was just like, I need to get out of as much of this costume as humanly possible.
Hmm.
And Brooke did the same, but I think he kind of like noticed, and then when he was taking our order, he was like, "Did you guys come from Anime Expo?" And we were like, "Yeah." And so we had a really good conversation with him, and then he just kind of like left us alone. So he was like, "Ah, these people are cool," and I'm like, "I swear, we'll get out of here as fast as humanly possible." And we did. We were out before they closed. So it was really good. I highly recommend. And then Sunday was probably the easiest day, but it usually is. But we got to start the day off bright and early in the crypto arena for the 5th year anniversary JJK panel, which was absolutely amazing. First of all, I don't think I've been in the crypto arena since like 2011 ish. I saw Taylor Swift back when she was country in there. Oh, you know what? No, I take that back. It was probably like 2017 because we went and saw Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, I believe, in there. Um, but anyways, the AC was pumping, and honestly, that's what mattered.
Yeah.
We got to sit on the floor seats. We were like the fourth or fifth row back, I think, which is crazy. We were nice and close. And I was so excited. So the panel was hosted by Alex Lee, which is great. Alex Lee is a 10 out of 10 host. He is also a voice of the cockroach in JJK season 3. So I was very excited that I didn't realize that for the longest time. I'm like, oh yeah, you are in JJK. But this panel was really cool because they had the English and Japanese voice actors for both Yuji and Geto. And I was the girl behind me was more excited than I was. She was like, she had a good like horror movie scream, and she was just full blast. But like, I get it, girlfriend, because I feel like it's so rare to see the Japanese voice actors anywhere besides in Japan. Most of them do not travel.
Yeah.
And so to see my husband on stage and for him to dub a scene in front of me, girlfriend, I was ready to just
Amazing.
pass away. I was like, this is it. This is all I need. Just this. And I it was absolutely stunning. And also the Japanese voice actor for Yuji, it must be a requirement to just be cute and adorable to be Yuji because he was adorable. Also, both the Japanese voice actors came in like a little like mini cosplay. So they had like their little school uniform on for their characters, and like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. And then you just have Adam McArthur, and I don't remember the English voice actor for Geto, but they were just in their normal nice clothes. And I'm like, you guys don't want to be on theme? How dare you? But it was really cool. We got a free little print from that panel. And the panel was awesome. It was really cool to see. They talked a lot about the most recent season and kind of what they're doing for next season. So it was really cool and amazing. And the Yuji scene that was dubbed was when Yuji first gets to Jujutsu High, and the headmaster is there and is just like, I'm gonna test you now. And then Yuji kind of gets beat up by one of the little stuffed animal thingies that he has. And then the Geto scene was the one where he's contemplating his existence in the shower. So we got to see Geto's booty on the big screen twice, which was fabulous. I'm all here for it. I really wish they would have done something from the hidden inventory arc, but alas, they did not. But I'll take whatever I can get. Um, and then after that, we went to go because we were just kind of piddling around for the day. But Robbie Deymond was there both Saturday and Sunday, and he's the English voice actor for Megumi, little Megumer, whom I love. And so Brooke was like, "We should go meet him," and I was like, "All right, bet." So we went to go meet him. His line was also very long, but also he's just a really nice person to meet. He's a yapper, which I love about him. But we ended up taking a picture, and then Brooke and I were talking about the little print that they gave us for the 5th anniversary panel has all of the characters on it. And so I was like, this would be a really cool thing to get signed. And she's like, we should start that today. And I was like, bet. So I've got my first ever signed anime item by Mr. Robbie Deymond. Um, and I remember because he's a yapper, so we were yapping. The second I got up there, we started yapping, and we were talking about various things. He just bought a house in LA that he's renovating himself, and I'm like, oh, kudos to you with small children. You go. Um, and so we're chatting about that, and then like mid sentence, he was like, "Have we met before?" And I was like, "No, we have not." And he was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Robbie." And I was like, "Hi, I'm Jamie." And then we continued yapping, but he's so cute. So we yapped, did our signature, and then Brooke got her signature, and they talked a little bit, and then because we paid for a picture, and so he was super nice. He did individual pictures. He did pictures with her, pictures with me, and then a picture with both of us. And then because Brandon was there taking a lot of our pictures, he was like, "Oh, gotta get the cameraman." So he took a picture with Brandon. So it was like the most lovely famous person experience I think I've ever had. That was, like in a convention space. So, if you ever get the chance, go yap with Robbie because he's fabulous, and a good time. Also, I'm pretty sure he yelled "What is happening" in Shibuya at least 2 times while we were standing in line for people. So I hope he never gets tired of that because he does it real good. Um, but yeah, that was pretty much it. We had a really good time. I also love going to, particularly it seems like Anime Expo with people who are more into anime than I am because I don't know nothing. And so, like, Brandon is into different things compared to what Brooke is into, compared to what I am into. So it's really cool
Hmm.
just to sit and chat. I mean, uh, like 3/4 of the expo experience is just standing in line for stuff. So we would just be chatting and yapping, and like Brandon's really like into like the VTuber side of things of like social media and stuff like that. And I'm like, Brandon, I'm a 32-year-old lady. I'm gonna need you to explain what a VTuber is and like what, like who, which ones do you like? How does this work? What does this mean? Um, and he just like, and it's funny because he's so shy. I don't know why I attract all of the shy people. I think because I'm the yapper, so all the
Hmm.
shy people are like, we can take her and she'll talk to people for us. And so just he's just so shy, and then he'd get like halfway explaining something and be like, I know it's really weird. And I'm like, Brandon, I don't judge here. This is a judge free zone. I If you like it and it's here, by all means. I mean, I'm a freaking lads player. Like, we don't judge here, we just listen.
True.
Ooh, also, speaking of lads, I'm so proud of them. They have a bigger booth at Anime Expo this year. And they were inside instead of outside on the balcony like they were last year. Um, but if you go on Instagram and you just look up like Lads AX, you will see they had basically like an experience this year. It was a lottery system. I unfortunately did not get picked, but I'm also kind of grateful. So they had actual cosplayers, like professional cosplayers of the boys, standing in front, like they had their own little cubicles, right? In front of the crowd, facing the hall. And if you got picked for, because you only got one spot from one boy, but if you got picked, you got to go up and interact with them, right? And for the most part, it's really cute. It's very kawaii. But the Silas cosplayer was working overtime. He was working for that paycheck. He put his whole Silas Ussy into it. Because, okay, for those of you who don't know, Silas is a very tall, white haired, red eyed, very beautiful mob boss of a man, also sometimes a vampire. And he is just, in my opinion, the most suave out of all of them because he knows he is beautiful. But this cosplayer was just like, we're gonna give each and every one of these women the 1000 out of 10 hot lover experience because, first of all, he was shirtless most of the time, which 10 out of 10. I do love that they had to put tape over their nipples. It makes me giggle because I was like, really? He has like the lowest low rise pants that you could possibly have on, and we're worried about nipples. That's crazy. Silas in particular was just like, he's like, here's the dog collar with the leash, you take the leash. And I'm like, whoa. And then he would just like take, like, because it had to be all women, which I thought was hilarious. After day one, they were like, if you are a man, you cannot be a part of this experience. But he would just like take these women's hands and then like slap his own titty with her hand and then like guide her hands all over his abs and everything. And I'm like, I'm watching this like live and in color, and I'm like, this is wild. But also, like, the wild part of it, because I remember Jamie sent me a couple videos and she's like, I am like, heating up from the inside and I'm not even there. And I'm like, the diabolical part is this is literally in front of the entire exhibition hall. Like, the crowd just to like for the people that were in this experience was huge, but then you have everybody else in this hall standing and blocking the roadway because we're all going, what the heck is happening right now in front of our eyes? It was wild. I highly suggest looking it up on Instagram and probably YouTube because it's just wild. But also like 1000 out of 10 Love in Deep Space. I love that. Even amidst all of the controversy that they have going on because they were going to input a new love interest and then they had like it all set up for Anime Expo and everything too, and then they were like, "Oh, we're taking the love interest out of the game." And I'm like, "Listen, I didn't I don't really care about the werewolf man, Valko, which is the new love interest, but the fact that you were like, we're going to put him in and then went, "Ooh, I guess enough people don't like that. We're going to take him out." No. Leave the dog. Leave him alone. But yeah, so poor Valko. I hope whatever cosplayer got hired to be Valko still got paid because I'd be furious if I should have at a convention and then the day before they went, actually, we don't need you. You can leave. It's like, what? But it was really good. I definitely spent way too much money.
Sounds
But
about right.
yeah, yeah. And it do be that way. But I got a lot of cool free stuff as well. So that was awesome. But I mean, that's all I can think of. I'll probably think of other anecdotes later. But do you have any questions or comments, Casey? Now that I've yapped for like an hour?
What would you rate your experience 1 through 10?
I would say probably like a 7 out of 10. Mainly because the crowd control was terrible and there's nowhere to sit. And I think every year Anime Expo can be better organized. And the event gets bigger and bigger every year, except they don't upscale anything. So like the amount of like security stays the same, the amount of crowd control stays the same. And I'm like, okay, but you have like another 5,000 people here, so like get it together. The actual like the activities, like the panels we saw and the voice actors we met and the shopping we did on the first day were all super great. We didn't have anybody who was rude. We didn't like I didn't get stepped on. I didn't get pushed down. I like nobody stunk, which I feel like
Hmm.
is a huge win for the anime community. Nobody stinky. Everybody had deodorant on that I could tell. And they had obviously a lot of cool stuff to buy because I bought a lot of stuff. But I just think the actual like convention organization really needs to can I be in charge of the organization for next year because like I feel like whoever does the organization has never been to a convention because like
Hmm.
all the stuff they start out with like they have a system because instead of just blocking off the entire block of the convention center, they basically fence off each part. So you have to tap in and tap out to get to places. And they really try to enforce like really hard the tap out situation day one, and then by day two it's gone. So I'm like, why even bother with the tap out situation? You know? Just
Hmm.
let us tap in. And I mean, they I think their main point of security, I think it's supposed to help like people from just like throwing their badge over the fence so that their friend can also get in. But like every room you get into, every hall you go into, you have to show your badge. So
Hmm.
even if you manage to sneak somebody in, you guys can't go anywhere besides like the main gathering hall where everybody is trying to take cosplay pictures for some reason. That's the only place you can go. Otherwise, everything else requires your badge, and they will not let you pass until you show them your badge. So I feel like the tap out situation, like, they shouldn't even bother with that. But also, like, in Artist Alley in particular, they were like, everybody stay to the right as you go down each lane. But they only enforce that for like the first 2 rows of stalls, and then the rest of it is not enforced. So, of course, people just walk wherever they want to.
Mhm.
So, organization of this convention is like a 2 out of 10 at best. But the overall experience of Anime Expo, with the people that I went with and the things that I got to do, I would say is a solid 7 out of 10. Some of it, like seeing both my husbands in real life, 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I just, like, an overall, I would say 7 out of 10. It was very crowded. It was very hot.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of people.
and yeah, and the one thing that's nice is they do have a room called the quiet room, where like the lights are like halfway down, and you're only supposed to like talk in a really low voice or whisper. The AC is pumping. We utilize that room at least once a day for like at least 45 minutes, because we just needed to sit and be in the air conditioning and not have our backpacks on our shoulders. And so I wish they had more quiet rooms. I feel like they should have one in every building, to be honest, or at least multiple parts of the main building, the main exhibition hall. But yeah, there just needs to be, and luckily, like, Brandon's been to Anime Expo quite a few times. I went last year, so they roughly keep everything in the same place. So we were able to kind of navigate a bit easier. But yeah, it needs to have better flow organization. If they got the flow down pat, then it wouldn't matter how many people are in there, because we would all just keep moving and keep going and it would be fine. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, and then they had, like, right out front, because they blocked off so much of Figueroa. I'm pretty sure it was on Figueroa. They had like 20 different vendors out there, which was really cool. Not that we ever ate there, because we just all starved the whole day and then went and got dinner after we left the convention. But it was really good. Nobody passed out this year, so that's good, because apparently Brandon almost passed out last year. But yeah, nobody passed out. We didn't have any mishaps or anything like that. So it was really good. But yeah, definitely 7 out of 10, I would say. Um, and Casey, you're gonna have to come next year, because Brooke and I have some plans for a giant Hashira cosplay group, and you have
I'm
to be
down.
there because you
I'm
have to be
down.
Tengen.
Yes.
Um, so, make sure, whoever is listening, make sure you subscribe so we could talk about that next year.
Woo, woo,
But
woo,
yeah,
woo.
we're trying to get we. It's funny because Brandon has never cosplayed, and so um, he watched us go through this whole weekend dressed up, and he was like, I think I'm too shy and I'm too nervous to cosplay. And I'm like, well, you start out small, and then you just kind of build from there. But then Brooke and I were talking, because she wants to do a Nosuke. I know that, but she also has a Tanjiro cosplay slash Nezuko. Um, and then I bought a Giyuu cosplay from the convention, um, which I didn't know was in Chinese sizing. So the only thing that fits is the Hyore. So I'm gonna have to fix that. That's another thing to add to my sewing pile. Um, but we were talking about it, and I told her, I go, we're gonna have to get Brandon to pick a Hashira, and she was like, absolutely. And then so he picked one, and then she was like, well, obviously Casey has to come, and I was like, absolutely, somebody's got to be Tengen.
Yes.
And
Of
then
course, me.
and then and then our friend Logan, who has been to Anime Expo, we're like, well, he has to come next year. because and then he gets to pick. So we're trying to just like, and then Christine has a Shinobu cosplay. So it's like we need enough people to come so that we can all be the Hashira group, because that would be
Yes.
amazing. And so make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that on the podcast. And I'm excited. I'm already excited for next year, and this year just ended. I'm trying not to think too much that this convention is over, because then I will be sad. But it's okay because we have Warp Tour in a couple weeks that we get to look forward to. So that's very exciting. And Orlando. So I'm trying to not fall into the pit of despair. We will leave that for Thanksgiving and Christmas time at my retail job. But yes, any other questions, Casey?
I don't think so. There's a cat
Excellent.
biting my toes.
Congratulations. I love that for you. So make sure to subscribe, follow us on all the socials, and we will see you guys in the next episode. So bye.
Goodbye, everybody.